Hey, wine mermaids. This is the Peace, Love, and Wine podcast, bringing you happy hour conversations with awesome women on self-care, sisterhood, and creative living to reduce stress and maximize joy. Life is short, so grab a glass and get ready to sip, sparkle, and make a splash. Make sure to visit peaceloveandwine.com and enter your email to receive VIP deals and get your free self-care download. Now, here's your wine sister hostess with the mostest, Tiffany Humfeld.
Hello, and welcome to the Peace, Love, and Wine podcast. I'm here with my lovely guest today, Simone, and we are talking about your book and your journey. Your book is called Disempowered No More, A Spiritual Journey to Discovering Purpose, Power, and Passion After Divorce. That sounds like a lot.
Yes, it was a lot. It was a lot.
Can you share a little bit about, I'm sure a lot of people have a book in them and it comes after probably a pretty painful journey. And I would like to share with the audience kind of where your journey started and how you were able to recognize the things that you needed to change, and then how you were able to start stepping out of your comfort zone to go to a healthier place.
Okay. So, I'm going to rewind a little bit, and I'm going to go back to a space in time where I was still married, still together with my ex. And, I was just going through, I felt I was in a space where I was feeling emptiness. I was feeling empty. I was feeling unhappy. I wasn't feeling fulfilled, and I didn't know what it was. And, but now that I look back, I realize what that was. And that is my soul was talking to me. My soul was telling me that I needed to go within. I needed to listen to what it had to say. And what it had to say was, I needed to find meaning. I needed to find purpose. And I didn't realize that until I actually walked away from my 17-year marriage. But, through the marriage, we like every marriage, like every relationship, has its issues. And, but, a lot of times we try to find reasons to stay. We find reasons to stay. Why? Because, we get comfortable, or it's the kids, or, can I really find something else out there? So I was in that space as well. But then when I left and moved out on my own with my 2 kids, that's when my journey began. When I walked away from my 17-year marriage, a month later, my father was diagnosed and hospitalized for 4th stage laryngeal cancer and never came back home. So, when it rains, it pours. But it was those 2 things at one time. And then in addition to that, I witnessed a traumatic incident at my father's hospital bedside that haunted me for months. And what happened was, from witnessing this traumatic incident, I began to experience symptoms of PTSD. So I was getting flashbacks, and any loud noises would trigger me and take me back to that event. So I knew exactly what was happening because I have a background as a mental health therapist. So having that background, I was just going through the checklist in my mind, and I was thinking to myself, okay, I have symptoms of PTSD. And I knew it was PTSD too because of the length of time that the symptoms lasted. So just imagine, I just left a long-term relationship. My father's dying in the hospital, and I'm also at the same time experiencing symptoms of PTSD. So I jumped into action and I began to meditate. I started to meditate every single day, and I haven't stopped since. Meditation has become my lifesaver. And, because what happens is when we experience heartbreak or we experience any difficult emotion, whether it's anger or resentment or guilt or blame or self-annihilation, because you can end up hating yourself when you're going through all of this as well, because you're thinking to yourself, okay, I had a family. I had a family and I just broke that family up. And those are the kinds of things that are going on in the mind. And that was just the space that I was in. And that's not the space you want to be in.
And wondering if you're making the right decisions, right?
Exactly. Wondering if you're making the right decisions. So this constant second guessing, wondering, am I doing the right thing, leads to the you hating yourself. So I was going through all of this, and meditation really, really helped to ease my mind and take me out of my mind. It helped to quiet my mind. So I began that practice as well. And from that, I had, like I mentioned, I have a background as a mental health therapist, which I worked as a therapist for a number of years, between both of my kids. And I also became a life coach. But after I had left the marriage and after I was going through all of this and going through a spiritual awakening at the same time, then I decided to become a female empowerment coach. Because what happened was when we separated 2 months later, because of all of the self-doubt, I decided to return. I decided to return to the marriage. And I don't regret doing that now because I realized that had to happen. But what had happened was when I returned to the marriage, there was an incident of physical violence, and there was also emotional and mental abuse. So I decided at that moment, though, that I wasn't going to remain and take what I was getting. And so at least I had enough self-love within me at that point to say, no, this is not for me. This is not the way this story is going to end. And I decided that I needed to get stronger. I needed to get stronger. And it took me about 5 months, 6 months to get stronger and to be able to leave again. And so I left and returned to my apartment with the kids and began to journal. So I was meditating and I began to journal every day. And in journaling, I healed parts of myself that never knew needed healing. I realized, I was able to also heal what was happening, and I was able to process everything that was happening and everything that I was experiencing. And from that, I birthed my book, Disempowered No More, A Spiritual Journey to Discovering Purpose, Power, and Passion After Divorce. So what began as a tool for my own self-healing evolved into something so much more significant. It's now something that is there for women to help them recover from abuse, any form of abuse, to help them find love within themselves, because that's where it all starts. If we don't truly love ourselves, we don't want the best for ourselves. And if we don't want the best for ourselves, we don't end up attracting everything that we deserve in life. And we were created to attract everything in abundance. And if we're in a space of fear, which is where all of that is, when you're in, a state of mental or emotional crisis or turmoil, that's where you are. You're in that space of fear. So when we're in that space of fear, we are not attracting what we were designed to attract, which is all of our heart's desires. So whether it's that job or it's the love that we want in our lives, or whether it's any opportunity that we want, if we want those things that should come to us naturally, then it starts with love of self. And so when we return to loving ourselves, everything comes to us easily and effortlessly. And, you know, a lot of times too, if we are in that space of fear, what's happening really underneath it all, what's happening is our emotions get trapped. So you have these negative emotions that get trapped in your emotional body. And these negative emotions create blockages, energetic blockages that don't allow everything to come to us. Okay. So it's important that we allow those emotions to come to the surface. We don't repress them, because then when we do repress them, that's when we experience that feeling of being stuck. Okay. Mm-hmm. And stuck in life. You know, you hear people talk about being stuck or feeling stuck. That's what that is. So allowing these emotions, these difficult emotions to come to the surface and healing them, allowing yourself to feel them, to heal them, and to release them, and then to be able to live life the way it was created to be lived and experienced.
So do you recommend that women sort of go about it the same way that you did through meditation and journaling in order to release those stuck emotions?
Yes, those tools are very, very helpful. Meditation just helps to quiet the mind. You know, it helps you. What's happening with meditation is you're going within, because when we go within, we're able to hear ourselves. We're able to hear our soul speaking to us. You know, when we talk about the intuition, it's our soul speaking to us. And when we go within, that's when we get all the answers that we need. Whether it's the answer that we need to, you know, leave the relationship, or whether to stay and try to work on it, or whether it's to get that job that you want. Is that job really the one for me? You know, when you go inside, that's when you get all the answers you need. And, you know, our world is so noisy as we speak. You know, it's such a noisy world. Yeah. And so, you know, so busy and noisy that we don't hear our soul speaking to us. And so I encourage others that they make meditation part of their daily practice, because when we do go inside, that's when we get what we need. All the answers are there within us. It's there. So meditation helps for that. And with journaling, I also encourage journaling as well, because again, having that background in mental health, that's just a tool that we know as therapists is very, very healing. It's very healing for both past and present pain. And so when you journal, you're getting everything out on paper. It's almost cathartic. Mm-hmm. It's cathartic. It's healing and cathartic. So when you get all of those difficult emotions and experiences out on paper, you are in essence healing yourself as well. So yes, those two tools, meditation and journaling, are very, very helpful in healing.
And if somebody is going to maybe start those journeys and they haven't ever been a habitual meditator or journaler, what do you recommend some easy steps to get started?
Yeah. Okay. So, what I would recommend is this. Hey, listen, I was never a meditator before all this either. I never was. You know, I was in the rat race myself and going from day to day, but it wasn't working. And, you know, sometimes life comes up to really wake you up. And for me, that's how it happened. But if you are not a habitual meditator, what I would suggest is start slow. You know, just a great app is Headspace. I recommend Headspace. Now that's for iPhone. I don't know for Android if that works for Android, but I do know it works for the iPhone. Headspace is great because you can gauge how much time you want to devote to your meditation on a particular day. So it can be as little as 5 minutes and all the way up to 15 minutes. So if you don't have much time on a particular day, 5 minutes is all you need. It's just a matter of getting your mind quiet, going within, and allowing your soul to speak to you. That's it. And so the thing is, meditation will make you just a better person all the way around. A better mom, a better wife, a better girlfriend, boyfriend, whatever. It's going to help. It can only help. And so I encourage you to take at least 5 days, and 5 minutes out of your day. And if you can increase that, over time, then that's only going to help.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
I like the app, the Insight Timer, and they have free versions and free talks and free guided meditations, and then just free different sounds you can put on to, if you just want to have music in the background. There's some nice options there. Have you ever used that one?
No, I haven't. No, that one sounds good. I got to check that one out.
INSIGHT.
Insight. Okay, great. I'll check it out.
Yeah. Uh-huh. So when you were first getting ready to leave the first time, what were the cues besides just, people can be searching for a deeper purpose and stay married, right? So what were the cues that were indicating that you needed to go there? How did you, what were you hearing?
Okay. So, well, listen, 17 years of marriage will give you enough material to really decide, whether it's going to work, or maybe this is not what you signed up for. So, throughout the marriage, my soul was talking to me throughout the marriage. It was, but I wasn't quite enough. I wasn't still enough to really get what it was saying, to really want to listen. And so, when we see that, okay, so for example, I'll use myself as an example. Throughout the marriage, we tried to get therapy together. We tried it, individual therapy. We tried couples therapy. But it had come to the point where, and I don't like ultimatums. I don't like being given ultimatums, and I don't like giving ultimatums, but I gave an ultimatum, and I said, listen, we need to devote all of ourselves to this process. We really need to stay committed to it. And if we don't, then it's not going to work. And that was something I said, because I realized that throughout the years, I was the one that was committed to that process. I was the one that was always committed to working it out in therapy. And, I suggest that, listen, if you can work it out, stay and work it out. That is the option that's best, But if it can't be worked out, especially in therapy, and you're seeing a pattern of your partner not being committed to the process, then you do have to ask yourself if that is going to work. Because if you go to therapy, even as an individual, if you go for individual therapy, the other person is not receiving what they need. The other person has to be open and willing to stay committed to the process, to work, doing the work to go on the inside and heal what needs to be healed. And therapy is another way of healing. And so if you see that your partner is not committed to the process, then I would call that a red flag. And it's good to pay attention to these red flags that we face on our journey, because when we don't pay attention to these red flags that others send us, these messages, it's all messages, it's all energy that they're sending us. They're showing us through their actions that, they're not committed, and if we are not paying attention to those signs, then we cannot blame anyone else but ourselves. So I would encourage others to pay attention to any red flags that you see on your way, and it can come in any form. It can come in any form. But for me, it was just realizing that this person was repeatedly not committed to the process, and not wanting to go within and work on himself and allow the relationship to heal and allow himself to heal and the relationship to heal as well.
Yeah, it takes two to do the tango there, right?
Yeah, it does. It sure does.
What do you say that people can do who are, maybe they're not seeing red flags, but they're just not necessarily satisfied in their marriage, or they're thinking, we don't really spend enough time nurturing relationship. What can people do to sort of be more intentional and start working on it? What do you say?
Yeah. Okay. That's a good question. So the way to really become intentional, what you want to do is this. So if you, and this is something that I put into practice myself in my marriage, what I would suggest is have a date night. It's as simple as that. Make sure and have a date night each week to check in. You have to work on the relationship. If you're not committed to working on the relationship, that's a whole other ballgame, but set aside that time. Set aside that time to go to get together, and spend some quality time working on the relationship, because a relationship is like any other relationship. It takes work. It takes work. We can't take it for granted. But the moment we start taking a relationship for granted is the minute it starts falling apart. And, you need to always be aware of not only yourself and how you're showing up, but also, first, that's where you really need to focus on, is really where you are and how you're showing up. But then also you need to look at your partner and say, okay, well, maybe he's tired or she's tired. Maybe, maybe we don't have to go anywhere. As long as we can stay home and check in that way and connect, then we are making progress, and that's the way to do it. And you know what, also too, you can try to do your own meditation at home together. As a couple, you can meditate together. It's a beautiful way of going within, is doing that together as a couple. And then you can, again, it doesn't need to be anything crazy. You don't have to spend a lot of money to invest in the relationship. You can do it inside your house, your apartment. You can do it exactly there and connect.
Yeah, I think sometimes it's just creating that space, right? Creating that space and that dedicated time, like you said. I love the idea of meditating together. That's especially to clear the noise, as we talked about earlier. Getting quiet together first, I think, can be a way to get in touch with ourselves and also our significant other. Yes, it does. It really does. So it's a way of both quieting the mind, and it's also a way of connecting. You're connecting. When you connect on that level, it's such a beautiful thing. And it's so profound when you're connecting on a level that's not, external. It's on the inside. And so when you connect on that level, it's nothing more intimate than that, really. Right. There was an exercise that I don't know where I read it, maybe in a magazine a long time ago. And I just thought, this sounds so beautiful. I would like to do it more. I think I've only tried it once, but it was essentially a meditation where you sit back to back with somebody else and you just practice breathing. And so your bodies are connected in a way. And, you're just like at the simplest level of the breath, you're connecting that way. And yes. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Listen, we're energetic beings. We're made of energy. Thoughts are made of energy. We are made of energy. So, just like you said, sitting back to back, you're connecting right there. You're connecting. And so it's a beautiful way of doing that. And when you can do that, the more often you do that, the more often, when you're able to connect on a level that is more intimate, like, meditation or going within and getting away from all the noise, then your relationship
relationship expands and gets deeper and more enjoyable.
And you get out of the panic or blame mode too. I think that's a good reason to start maybe a couple's conversation with a meditation, because you're sort of balancing your, what's the word? Like your fight or flight response, right? Your part of your body that is going to go into panic mode. It kind of levels everything out and makes you come from a place of love and openness.
Yes, exactly. That's the thing. There are two emotions that exist. There's love and there's fear. And when we're stuck in that place of fear, it's all, like you said, the panic, the anxiety, oh my God, are we connecting? Are we, it gets you out of that mindset, and it moves you to that space of love, which is joy and peace and happiness and contentment, and acceptance and compassion. All of those emotions that are positive emotions are based on fear. And so, when you meditate, it's moving you from that space of fear to that place of love. So if we can do it as a couple, if you can meditate as a couple, it does wonders. It does wonders for the relationship.
I'm going to have to suggest that with my husband. I'm like, I want to try that activity again.
You should. I encourage others to do it in their relationships. I really do. It's so healing. And it's a great way, like I said, of connecting and just, and getting closer, more intimate.
Yes. So I want to talk about what you do for fun, because that's also a way to heal yourself.
Yeah. Well, I love getting together with friends. I do. I go to the beach a lot. I love to go to the beach. I also meditate on the beach as well, but I love to go to the beach. We get out and I go for dinners and walks on the beach, and I get out a lot with my friends. And I also love to do a lot of things where it's like workshops, self-help workshops, or self-development workshops, things like that, where you can learn, because it helps. It helps not only on my journey, but to help others. And that's what really gets me excited about life too, is helping others. But those are some of the things I do for fun. And then spending time with my kids. They grow so fast, and I have a 16-year-old and an 11-year-old, and my God, I can't believe I don't have babies anymore. It's like, where did time go? So when I spend time with the kids too, it makes me a kid myself. And sometimes we need to just have that sense of wonder and awe in us, because we get so caught up in life, and we get so caught up in being adults, that it's nice and healing and fun to just let go and be kids again. So those are just some things I do for fun.
That's fun. Yes, connecting with kids is definitely a great way to get in touch with your own inner child.
Yes.
What do you do now when you're helping women? Who is the woman that you're typically working with these days in your practice, your coaching practice?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I'm working with women who are wanting to leave an unhealthy, one-sided relationship, a relationship that may be abusive on some level. I'm also working with women who have already left their relationship, their past relationship, and are wanting to heal. And so I help them to heal and move on. And so, like I mentioned, it's very important to heal heal the past, because if we don't heal the past, everything that we want can't come to us. And so again, it has to do with energy. So if we, when the women come in to heal, that's what we're working on. We're working on healing first before jumping into another relationship, because that's what a lot of people do. They end up jumping into another relationship right after, something that went south and you didn't give yourself the time and the healing that you needed. And so that's what you're going to attract, some of the same. And you don't want that. You want to be able to attract what you deserve, which is a healthy, loving relationship. But, the thing is, I'm also working with women too on self-love. So that's where it all starts. Self-love is the beginning. That's where it begins. We must love ourselves first to be able to attract to us what we deserve in terms of a significant other. And so those are the women that I work with now. And it's so beautiful to see the transformation. It does take time, but once you put in the work, you'll get the results that you want.
And where can women find you if they'd like to learn more about your services or your book?
Yeah. Okay. You can find me on my website, which is www.empowerbysimone.com. And that's EMPOWERBYSIMONE.com. And you can also find me on my two favorite social media platforms, Facebook and Instagram. And that's just Simone Allison. And my book, you'll find on the website. You'll find that there. And you can also find me on Amazon. That's Disempowered No More, A Spiritual Journey to Discovering Purpose, Power, and Passion After Divorce.
All right. Well, thank you for sharing your wisdom and your story today. I appreciate it.
Thanks, Tiffany. Thanks for having me.
This is a public service announcement from Peace, Love, and Wine. Hey, Mermaid, are you feeling calm AF? If not, I have a solution for you, and it's free. Go to peaceloveandwine.com and grab your free self-care download by entering your name into the pop-up, or just go to the show notes and grab your Calm AF link there into your email, and we'll get you on your way to feeling good. Oh, yeah.